That was funny.
What's happening, y'all? Welcome back to There's an Iron Marriage podcast. You know who we are, Nick and Kayla. How you doing? Hope you had a great week. Number one, two. Hope that you're ready to buckle in for this one because we're continuing from last time talking about soul ties.
Yep.
But
This time,
This
you
time.
gonna talk about the ones you made.
I'm gonna talk about y'all. No, what we're really gonna talk about is how our egos are tied to our soul ties. I know that kind of sounds weird, and I hope that you are able to look beyond what you see.
You love saying that.
I love saying that because look, y'all. So
it's real.
Look,
it's real.
I know we want to get into talking about how we can date or how we can have our marriages better and stuff like that. And when we throw out these topics, sometimes it may seem like, what are they talking about? What they got to do with it? And these early on concepts is really what shaped our book, honestly. Number one. Two, this is how we have discovered things. And then you know how God just tries to plant some nuggets throughout the week and show you some new concepts that you really haven't understood before. That's what happened this week. So we talked about the soul ties last time, and then we watched a movie. It's on Tubi for those that love the free movies out there. It's called Sprung, and shout out to Tisha Campbell and that cast. If you have not seen that, I highly recommend it, and don't just go to laugh because it is a pretty.
We went to laugh at first.
Yes, it's a very
because
funny
I've
movie.
seen it before when I was younger.
I never saw it, but when it comes to dating culture, even though that was made late 90s.
I don't know. Yeah, like
It was like 1997 or something like that.
Maybe even 2000. I don't
We
know.
we don't be knowing facts sometimes. Go Google it. But regardless, it was still relatable to today. It talked about how the dating culture is. It talks about how men are really hard to find love and really appreciate someone, and women is hard for women as well.
It kind of touched on the differences between how when a couple starts a relationship with sex and when one doesn't.
Yes.
And
it's a big difference, and because of our walk in dating, and then being able to be married and being able to talk about all these things, it made so much sense when you see how Tisha Campbell's character and the guy, sorry we don't know your name, but you were phenomenal in playing that part. How they came together and had a very, for the most part, especially throughout the beginning of their story, a peaceful relationship.
They had really good chemistry.
Very good chemistry.
As
I'm surprised if they ain't married. I don't know how they was able to do that, because
we talk about Love Jones and Nia Long and I forgot his name.
Yeah, him.
We talk about Love Jones and their chemistry as an actor and an actress. No. In Sprung, their chemistry was crazy. Even the couple that was like arguing all the time and like fighting, like their chemistry was like whoa,
you know, 90s movies give you 90s vibes and stuff like that, or early 2000s vibes. But overall, that was a well-told story.
It's rated, I would say,
it's a little more mature. It's a little more mature.
R, maybe
so
PG-13.
don't rush your kids into watching it. But I think it's also a good place to start for kids at some point. That's just our opinion.
At a certain age, if they start asking questions, but we get
about
off
dating.
topic.
Yeah. Anywho, there was parts of stories that talked about their story in the movie talked about ego, and that's what sprung this conversation. There's things that we do in our dating culture that gets us caught up with people, and it puts us on a path more so of destruction when it comes to relationships. I know we say destruction and it sounds so bad, but there's patterns that we do as an individual that will bring us farther away from the goal of marriage, especially a happy marriage. In that particular part, don't want to spoil too much, but the guy let his ego win. That brought him in a place where a girl that he used to like, got his attention enough to cause drama in their relationship.
Way too close.
Yeah, and we'll leave it at that because we don't want to spoil the movie. I highly recommend watching it if it's still on Tubi. If not, put it back on Tubi by this point. Anywho, so again, when we talk about our egos, I can attest that as a male, especially in a black male in a culture where sex is highly important and it shows how valuable you are to a woman in our culture, that we lead in these relationships and we're so caught up in trying to entrance and trying to sway and woo a woman that once you do all of that, you kind of get to a point in a relationship like, dang, what was this really even about? Because sometimes
when your ego subsides, huh?
No, when you put your ego forward.
Like when you ask that question, like when you're like, "What was the point?" Is when your ego subsides.
Yeah, a little bit. It's because it's like, okay, let's just walk through a scenario. How about this? I'm a guy. I see a girl. She's very beautiful, and of course, you're sexually attracted to them, and I'm sexually attracted to them. Then I walk up, start a conversation. Hey, how you doing? One thing leads to another, possibly Netflix and chill, possibly go on a small date, but then the whole time your focus is on getting sexually involved with them. And then, of course, you do get sexually involved, and then at some point, you start, if you really like this person, you start to feel like, okay, how can we merge our lives together, right? Right. So, over time, because you have put this idea that this person is now important in your life, you start building that soul tie, right? Start dating, you start talking this and this and that. But then you also start to see the real person, right? And now you have come to the crossroads whether it's like, are we dating or not? Because that a lot of times we get to that point. So, are we dating or not? If you decide not to date this person, you have put so much early on effort into getting with this person. This is also why women get so frustrated, why guys try so hard to get with them and they end up leaving them. We're so confused. So, you leave this person and now this person starts to move on, but then there's parts of you that's like, dang, I can get with them again. I would like to get with them again. Or, shoot, I don't want to see them with somebody else, right? Now it becomes your ego. Because you have thought this whole time that you were in control of this person. And we talk about people being manipulative and stuff, and I know I'm talking. But yeah, I'm trying to make sense of it. Like, we say people are manipulative, the whole time we've allowed our ego to say, I can get with this person, I'm going to get with this person, and once you get with them, now what?
Right.
Now what? Now you see them with someone else, now you're jealous. Or you see them with someone else, and now you feel like you got to go back and show them and other people that you are still in control, that you still got them. You know, we talk about these lyrics in hip-hop where all my exes still love me. My exes know what that sex was about. My ex is this. And they still hollering at me. No, that's all of that is ego. All of that talk is ego. And so, especially as a DJ, I'm hearing, I play the music, I hear it. Like, and I'm not hating on music. Sometimes it's fun music. But it's like, okay, at some point in real life.
How serious are you taking those lyrics?
How serious are you taking those lyrics? But how serious are you taking this ego thing on your own? This is, we're talking about our eyes. That you can only control your own eye.
You can only control yourself. You can only be accountable for you.
Yes. So, when you get caught up in these situations talking about, I can still get that person. They still want me. They still want to be with me. And truth be told, not really as of recent, but like in my life, I've had those moments where it's like, I know I can get back with her. I know I could do this. I know I could do that. And I'm not proud to say it, but like
It's who you were.
it's who I was. Shout out to K Camp and Trey Songs, but all those I was joking about it. It's like, man, Mr. Still Your Girl was a real thing, and I'm not proud of that.
You made it a part of your ego.
I made it a part of my ego. We're talking. These are real things, y'all, and so.
But the fact that we can have a conversation and not be offended, or like people are like, well, why are you? Well, it's because we talked about this throughout dating.
Mm-hmm.
But to have this epiphany now, I think is good because maybe it is still an area God is like, and it ain't gotta be just in relational. Your ego can show up in many different places, and maybe that's
So
an area
many places.
God is like nudging at you, not saying that you have it, but God is like making you more self-aware so nothing does happen or it doesn't show up.
Oh, for sure.
Or he makes you more more discerning and like, hold up, my ego's showing up.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe that's what it is, and that's why it's coming up.
I mean, for example, in many other people that are on this side of enlightenment will tell you, especially as a black man or as a attractive man or whatever you call yourself, you see a woman that is attractive, but you know that you have better at home, of course, right? You would hope so. That is an ego check most of the time, because you know that, okay, what if I pursue this person, I am going to go so off course.
And you don't know what they come with. You don't know how they eat, how they drink. You don't know if they have addictions. You don't know where
Family
they live.
issues.
You don't know nothing. I'm not saying
Financial
that
issues.
not knowing any of those things are a bad thing, but like to just jump to leave what you have that you know is good to jump into something else. I'm scared of you because no judgment, but I'm scared of you because if you can do that and have no type of like inkling to stop before you even get started, there's something in you that even if anybody worked with you, you have commitment issues or you can't see longevity. And that's what scares me. And it's not that you can't grow from it, it's not that you can't change, but in the moment it's like I don't know. I would evaluate that as if I don't know if I could work with you right now. And I hope that you see the thing that you're doing is like, yo, this isn't just showing up in relationships. It's showing up in other areas of your life because
Absolutely.
the things that you do in these relationships, they literally show up in other areas of your life. You like to think that they don't, but they do. Like me wanting control in relationships in the past started to show up.
A little bit.
It's the ego thing. But like it started to show up at work, or it started to show up with friends, or it started to show up with like other things around the house, or like even with my own, with me. Like there's a lot of things that I had to realize I cannot control.
Exactly.
So again, whatever you do in these relationships or are willing to do, and you know it's harmful, I hope that we all as humans can become more self-aware in those areas, because it's like, hold up, if it's showing up here, where else is it showing up?
So let's kind of broaden this concept a little bit, because we're talking about there's an I in marriage. So if you have yourself and your ego is talking, and whether you're in a dating situation or whether you're in a marriage, you're saying that there's something that I see, which is another person that is outside of my current relationship, and you feel like that is more, much better than what you have. Like what she's talking about is, if you put in the time to be committed to me, or vice versa, right? If you're putting in time and then you're saying that you're willing to jump ship for something else, that that is a part of your ego that you have not checked. That is a part of something that says you are not willing to see beyond yourself. You're still I. What can I get?
I have a perfect example. Y'all gonna love this.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a 4-year-old or like a 1 to 4-year-old. You give them one, you cleaned up the house, right?
Mm-hmm.
You give them one toy, they drop it, they go find another.
Mm-hmm.
They drop it, they go find another.
Mm-hmm.
They drop it, they go find another. And eventually, within 1 hour, what do you see?
A mess.
A mess.
And then some of y'all parents know exactly what that is.
You get frustrated. You're like, oh my gosh, like I just cleaned up. I just cleaned this mess up.
Mm-hmm.
But as the child or anybody who can have that visualization, whether you have kids or not, you know what that looks like.
Mm-hmm.
That's what it looks like when you keep jumping ship.
Mm-hmm. So as a parent, the parent is related to the person that's in the relationship with you. They see a mess that you're creating.
And it's like,
And then you, as a 1-year-old or a 4-year-old or whatever, you don't realize because you're so young what you're doing to the environment. You're causing stress on your parent. You're causing stress on your relationship. And so this is what we're talking about egos, because if you're mature enough, because checking your ego is definitely about maturity. It's not about just, I can stop whenever I want. I can stop whenever I want.
and anybody can get there.
You can
with
get
the maturity.
You can get there, but there's a level of maturity where you don't even say that out loud, and that you just walk in that discipline. It's about discipline. It's saying, you know what, I'm good.
And in James, I've been reading that in James 1, to stop being hearers but be doers of the word.
Yep.
So yeah, you start to become a doer when you mature. You don't just,
So yeah, we talked about ego. I know we talked about ego when it comes to dating situations, but when it comes to soul ties now, how do you break that? Like, I had moments where I had to realize that I am good. I know I had a feeling for that person. I know that person was at some point important to me, but I'm good. They're in a new situation. I'm good. They moved away, and I can't do anything with them. You know what? I'm good. I matter of fact, I don't really even want them. They're not the person that's even fit for my future. I'm good. And so this is how you start the healing part when it comes to soul ties. You might have exes. We like to glorify having exes. No. Let them go. Let them go. There was something else that we had watched or something like that, and we're like, oh, we were talking about Cam Newton, his podcast.
that situation happened.
Yeah. So we just had questions. I don't want to put anything on Cam. I think Cam's a great person, and I love some of the last things he talked with other people like Kirk Franklin and stuff.
Yeah.
So, but when it comes to, and we're talking about a new concept where it's like guys wanting to be physically active and getting having children with women that they don't see a future with. And that also was sparked this ego conversation with us, because we're sitting here thinking, why would a man want to do that?
This is a genuine question. Like, why would a man want to do that, or why would a woman agree to do that?
Because what we're trying to do with our podcast, nothing against Cam, but what we're trying to do with our podcast is talk about how can we create homes. It's not just getting married, y'all. How can we have healthy, happy homes? And I'm sitting here thinking, if a man thinks that he can just get with women and have kids with them, but don't have anything to do with creating a home, that sounds like an ego thing. It very much sounds like an ego thing, because one, you're not trying to be emotionally intimate with someone, and that's very important in the marriage to me. I mean, we want to talk about men being good fathers and stuff like that, which is very important. But as far as a dynamic and what we've grown to know as growing in Christ, we're growing in Christ in our walk and everything. We're not perfect people, but what we think is, of course, you have God number one, but this relationship has to be important. This display of love and grace and forgiveness and intimacy and world building and love building, like all of that is important. And so if you can sit here as a man and say, I want to be with you physically, but I don't want nothing to with you
I don't
emotionally,
want anything else attached.
that is scary. And I feel like that's an ego thing. So we're talking about all these things when it comes to ego because as our ego thinks we can create worlds where we don't bring destruction, we don't bring damage to other people, we don't realize how much grace people are giving to us. We don't realize how much people love us as individuals, and we create all these boundaries and these barriers, and we're creating worlds where things will eventually collapse and be bad. And then when I'm not saying that in a I'm saying that as a just watch the clock and see it happen. And I'm it's not a judgmental thing, but it's just the fact that as far as what I've realized in life, I'm 32 years old. I've been there, done that. Read that book.
You cute or whatever.
I've been there. You can count it on a clock that something is going to fall apart when you let your ego take charge. And even
That's biblical though.
it is biblical. We can see it time and time again.
Read Proverbs.
It's in Proverbs. We can talk about a lot of different characters in the Bible. We talk about David and what Bathsheba. That was ego. Oh,
It's a lot of.
oh my gosh.
It's a lot of stuff in the Bible that you can relate back to ego. Like,
He sent his soldier out to war, hoping that he goes and dies so that he can be with his woman.
well, it wasn't even to be with her, just so he won't have to suffer the consequences of his soldier approaching him. Like a lot of times, it don't even be like because you want to be with somebody or you actually want to do something. We try to avoid things, or we start to scheme and plot and do things as humans because we don't want to deal with the consequences.
Ego says I can do it, and I'll try not to get caught up in the consequences. That's literally ego, and it doesn't always have to be about cheating. It can be.
It's in anything, in business relationships, at work, and with your children. Like
I
all that stuff.
do what I say because I'm the parent. That's the ego. Instead of listening to your child, talk about. I don't want to talk about it when your spouse is trying to bring something important that you might need to change. You probably do need to change because it's tearing your household down. And if we don't talk about this right now, and if you don't change, it's gonna go south.
And we say this in the book. If you don't change, you're gonna make things a lot. We say marriage. You're gonna make marriage a lot harder than it needs to be, but you're gonna make life in general harder than it needs to be. Like life is already hard, but if you aren't willing to change and fix the things that you are being addressed about and talk about the things that are bothering you and be willing to grow from all of it, if you are not willing to do any of that, things are going to be way harder. Because when you have that mindset that it's just like, nothing's gonna change, I'm not gonna change, they're not gonna change, it's not gonna change, oh well. You have allowed the enemy to take control of your mind and make you think this. Like, no, bro, it's not true. Things can change. You can change. But if you are not, literally, you have to see beyond what you see. And I encourage people. I am reading, and I'm almost done reading Battlefield of the Mind. Because the only reason people believe that change is by Joyce Myers. The only reason people believe that things cannot change is because of how they process things. It's all about perspective. It's all about the things that you've seen, the things that you have believed in your own mind. Now, I'm not saying life doesn't throw hardballs or things don't happen, but like, what can we look at and change our perspective to think like, okay, maybe this can change. Maybe if I change this, maybe if this, looks, you know, you have to change your perspective and you have to start discerning what's truth and what's the lie, because then you'll be able to, if you can believe the truth and turn to the truth, your mind will change. Then your actions will change. I
will also encourage people to have a vision, especially like a vision board. I know that sounds like a cliche thing, but if you want to have a healthy relationship, I did it. I created a vision board. I actually I heard the concept so many times, but then when I saw through Steve Harvey, he had talked about Habakkuk 2:2, write the vision, make it plain. It was time for me. I was like, you know what, I'm gonna write a vision board, and on there it has pictures of a healthy relationship, a healthy marriage. Shout out to Mike Todd for being a beacon for people to see like how can you have healthy relationships, and he's also encouraged people to change. If you watch his sermons and stuff like that, shout out to Transformation Church. Like when we talk about change, I know we as humans, we get so booty cheek tight because we feel like I'm fine, I'm the blessing, I'm the one that they need to be.
And that's true. We are all chosen.
Let your ego fall down a little bit and say, you know what, I'm actually human. I make mistakes.
Yep.
I make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I'm only 25 years old. I'm only 22 years old. I'm only 30 years old. I don't know any.
You're only 40.
I'm only 60. Like
you know what I mean? Like that's fine.
There's new concepts in my life that I think I really need to adapt. I need to learn. I need to change. Don't want, especially when it comes to marriage, because we also see these divorce rates and it's like, oh man, they're so high. I don't know if I want to get married. If you're not willing to change, if you're not really willing to listen to your spouse, if you're not willing to listen to God, if you're not willing to really see the world, we're talking about perspectives, if you're not willing to see the world differently, the things are just going to fly by, and then something's just going to fall apart. And that's really what a lot of this there's an I in marriage conversation is going to be about. It's going to be about being open to something new. And that's why we say see beyond what you see, because it's going to be new. There's going to be a lot of emotions that you're going to have to let go of, a lot of things in your past. Please don't let your ego think that the way that you handle your past was perfect. Please.
I had to learn that.
Let single people please hear that. Like, don't let your ego keep you where you are, because you think that you're the one, you're the chosen one. There's two sides to every story, and be humble enough to say, you know what, I did something wrong here. That's why I wrote the book, Been There, Done That. That's why I also wrote another book called Dear You. I was owning up to my mistakes. I was taking accountability. And also in this world, I feel like people, young people, old people, all people need to learn how to take accountability. And I'm not trying to say that I'm perfect.
But if you can take accountability for anything that you've done, or in the moment you did it and you're like, you know what, I messed up, or I did this and I did that. To me, it's beautiful. The fact that you can, it's humbling to say, like,
it's so human. Being human is beautiful. Being the one to say that, you know what, I messed up. You know what, bro, I respect that.
If I'm being honest, when you take accountability, I think it's sexy. It's sexy.
Hey, you heard that, man. If that wasn't a reason to go try to be a better
Own
man.
Up to it. When a man, this is just me though speaking. Like, I don't know how other women feel.
I like to hear about that.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean,
we can talk more about that on another time. But like,
yeah.
For me, I genuinely don't know how other women feel. But when a man takes accountability, specifically you, It's sexy. It's honorable. It helps with me being able to submit.
That word. Ooh.
It's like okay, like if he can own up to that, like something so little as to leaving the front door unlocked, or
I say that all the time. My bad, babe.
yeah, like it was just, you know what, I did do it. Not I didn't do it. You did it. I like that. We don't need to do that.
And
He
then now we
literally
broke
just
up
says,
because we argued
over an unlocked door.
over an unlocked door.
But like when you actually, or like, oh yeah, I left the orange juice out, or oh yeah, I forgot to do this, or oh, like it's not. I'm like, okay, and then I see him do it the next time. I'm like, that's what I'm talking about. Like,
I was just about to say, don't. I mean, yes, be accountable, but be consistent in your accountability. That's what turns
Change
people
the
off
action.
in this world. Is when we see you do it one time and then you fumble the bag again,
and
and
I've
then you
been
do
in a
another
cycle like
time
that.
and you fumble the bag again.
You say I'm gonna do this, and then you do it twice, and then you don't do it anymore. I've been in a relationship where it's been like that, and it's not fun. It's people who do that. It's manipulative. It's not. You are not a safe space. And again, I'm not saying that you're a bad person, because you can change. But if you are the person that is inconsistent when you do things, or you make a person think, oh, I'm gonna change, and then you do it twice, and then you don't do it anymore, that is not, you are not a safe space for people to be around in general, because that is not okay.
Can I add one more thing too? Going back a little bit with the ego part. If you are high in your ego, that means your heart is hardened.
And I genuinely don't know what could have caused it. I'm sorry for whatever caused it. And again, I don't mean this in a harsh tone when I say you're not a safe space, because you can change. I pray that whoever is listening to this and you feel anything, well, I don't know what you're feeling, but like, I encourage you to look in the mirror, ask yourself, okay, have I done this? Has this been done to me? And have I done this to anybody else? Am I currently doing this? Or have I done this before? And has it shown up recently, even though I've changed? So again, I'm saying all of this stuff because I probably haven't been a safe space for people because of my inconsistencies. And
Okay.
I shouldn't, in those moments, I shouldn't have taken them personal, because I wasn't, you know what I mean? But you have to grow and you have to change in those areas.
So when you say a safe space, we're bringing this back to what we talked about earlier. Like, safe space is home. That's what we want. That's the beautiful part about real marriages. You come home to someone. You come to a safe space, and we talk about it all the time. Like, women want to be in their soft girl era. Men want to be, taken care of and stuff like that. But if the ego part is what blinds us from the opportunity, it distracts us from the opportunity to create the home. That's what we're talking about. That's why we're trying to bring it all together. And so if you're talking about being in a relationship with someone, or if you are in a relationship, you are married to someone, and you're having some issues, it comes down to, am I creating a home for this person? Ask yourself, and then also talk about it with your significant other, or the person that you're dating. How can I make this a home for you? How can I make this a safe space for you? We talked about that a lot.
And then also talk about how they can make it for you too.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah. But you got to know your eye. You got to know what's safe for you. And if you haven't been, we encourage you to go on a journey. If you haven't already, to know what is really safe. When I say safe, it means peace. Less anxiety, less worry, less worries about, getting into an argument, less worries about finances, going down the drain, or less worry about cheating, less worry about this, less worry about that. Like, this is why we have all these conversations in dating first, and then you get into your marriage, and then we hope that as God is guiding all of y'all, that you get to have that healthy relationship, because we figured out how can we be consistent in creating this home.
and God is still leading us. We don't leave them out.
We're not perfect.
We're not perfect. But we say these things because we've done them. We've been these people before. We've realized, like, okay, that's not good. That's not, you know what I mean? I know I'm not a bad person, but what got me here? And those are the things that we were willing to ask ourselves, and we encourage everybody else to ask themselves that question. It's not always about pointing the finger. What they used to say, you point the finger, 3 point back at you. Like, you have to look in your own mirror and look at your own eye and be like, okay, how can I make sure that in that situation I react different, or in that situation I don't say that again or do that again? But I hope this encouraged somebody. We hope that this encouraged somebody.
We hope, yes.
This whole creating soul ties and how we got here and how they break, like, I feel like this conversation could go on and on and on again.
And we could tell some real stories.
Yeah.
We're not there yet. Because there's some real stories that has shaped my life, probably shaped your life. We promise that we're real genuine people. We're not pointing fingers again. So, like, yes, we hope that this gives you an opportunity, especially when we're getting this book out.
I'm so excited to get this book out. Like, it's so many gems. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but it's so many gems in the book, y'all. Like, this is going to help so many people. I truly believe that God, like, every time I sit down and I reread it, I'm like, God, I don't know how I came up with this or how Nick came up with this part in this section, but it's God.
It's going to touch so many lives. Like, there's going to be something for you. There's bound to be something for you.
It's something for everybody in that book. God wrote that book. Like, he wrote that book. I'm going to keep saying it. He wrote that book for y'all. And there's so many people out here getting married and engaged, dating.
We want you to succeed. We really do.
I want it to be so successful because, again, marriage is the example of how God loves his people. And if you can just be the image, you don't got to be perfect, but be the image. And just
image of love and
forgiveness. Like,
and consistency.
People with
those three things.
So many. I can't even put it into words. I'm so excited.
Love, consistency, and forgiveness. If you can do those three things in your marriage, you're gonna be fine.
I'm so excited for y'all.
You're gonna be fine. I shout out to the married people that's doing that. Just being in love, being consistent, and being forgiving of each other.
And the single people. Single people are very forgiving, very loving, all of that. Like, but I do pray that people see this or see all of our other videos and actually understand, like, okay, what is my eye?
For real. Like what's
my eye? Let me look
what
beyond,
I've been through.
Let me look at all of this. Let me not look at just what happened. Let me look at what led up to that. Let me look at what I did. Because most of the time we always remember what other people did. God gonna help you remember what you did in this situation and what you said, for sure.
God will, because if and letting down your ego, God can tell you. Please don't think you bigger than God. Please don't. So yeah, y'all, we can keep talking because we really want to help y'all. We really want to show y'all love. If you are still watching, thank you. Please show in the comments what you learned, what you. Let's have conversations in the comments now. Like the video, subscribe, all of that. We love you. We hope that you have a very blessed week. We're gonna have some more to talk about, because you know how dating and relationships are. Ooh, we love you. Peace.